flesh that. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamer Science Podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Nathaniel and Eric. If you're watching the live stream, that's not Dennis, it's Eric.
Today I will be playing the role of Dennis.
If you only had a black-haired wig, long-haired black wig, that's
need my glasses too.
Yeah, you need your glasses, but yeah, it's fine. It's no big deal. Everybody listening to the podcast is going, I don't understand what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. You're fine then.
Everything is normal.
Yeah,
you're fine.
For you, everything is normal. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all normal. Yeah. But it's always something. But that's fine. No big deal. So we will carry on. It'll be like the olden days when it was just us two. So it's been a while since it's just been us three. It's been it's been a long time.
Probably like maybe a year, 2 years maybe. There was at least one time where it was three of us last year.
Yeah, I was.
Doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't anymore. It's like, it used to be a regular occurrence because, it was like, what was it? We was talking about a couple of weeks ago when I was looking back through things. It's just like, what did I say it was? This was 11 years?
Yes.
Something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, between all the couple shows we did before this one,
The Gaming Outsiders, yeah. That takes me back.
Jeez, I mean, it just didn't seem like it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but
it's almost like we tried it once with one site and with another site, and then decided to just do our own thing after that because it was dumb when they kept collapsing.
Yeah,
because unfortunately, when we were doing it for Goozer Nation, GoozeX itself closed, so
yeah,
that site went. So it had been 11 years ago as of January 30th since we started our original podcasting journey.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And if you want to hear some fun audio on the site, you can go back and listen to it.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little rough.
It is.
The format's about the same. We did some fun stuff in the very beginning when we started this too. Or was that with Goozer Nation where we did the news and then the little retro section and we kind of recorded them separately?
I think that was just Goozer Nation. I can't remember now. They all kind of bleed together after a while. It's
we tried a couple different formats.
It's been a decade. Come on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I did 2 weeks ago.
When you say it it felt old before, but when you say it like that, it feels even older. It's like, oh my gosh, a decade. Jeez, it's like I'm so old. But it's hard to believe it's been that long. It's like
And the funniest thing with the Gaming Outsiders too, it was somebody on Cheap Ass Gamer who was like, "Oh, check out this other site. It's kind of like Cheap Ass Gamer, and you can trade and buy stuff." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I joined and answered your. I think you put a thread looking for podcast people. I think.
Yeah. That's because I forget the dude's name. I'm still friends with him on Steam.
Sean, Seth. I'm going with an S.
Yeah, it was something with an S. I think you're right. I think it was Sean or something like that. It's like, and he. And he kind of said, "Hey, this guy and this guy," and it's like, just put it on the forum. It was like, okay. It was like, but it's weird. It's like it doesn't seem that long ago. It really doesn't. But what is time anymore? What is time? Time is nothing.
Time is a weird soup.
It really is.
Swirls together.
But we'll do what we always do. What we've done for the past decade is talk about video games. So none of us has played a whole lot, but there's one game that all three of us have played, which is not unusual, and I kind of figured that's the way it would go. So I guess. Well, Nathaniel, do you want to talk about what you've done so far, and we'll talk about the other one, all three of us, and what you've been playing?
I mean, I've just been putting more time into Witcher 3. I finished the Hearts of Stone expansion earlier tonight, so I've done the main game in that. So the next up will be Blood and Wine, and that I'm looking forward to that because that's an awesome expansion.
Yeah, that expansion's good.
It's almost like its own game. It's 20, 30 hours long, so that's going to be fun to go through again.
Yeah. Sorry, that's 30 hours. Good grief.
I mean, if you're doing absolutely everything in it, I'm sure if you made it, you could do it a lot quicker. But
I like that DLC with the big estate, and you could buy stuff for it and kind of customize. That was neat. I like that.
Well, it's fun because it's a lot more colorful than the base game because you have a whole new map that you go to for Blood and Wine, and so it's a little bit more leaning into the fantastical a little bit, and Hey, you're Geralt. Do you want to start a winery? Sure. Okay. You
Sure,
can have
I'll
a
stop
winery by
those
the end of
grapes.
this.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I don't know. It's really, really good. And if you've read the books, it's also got like a character in there
Man,
that's from the books.
I got to read the book still. I own a couple of them.
You know, I need to see if those are on. If I mean, I'm sure.
They're on digital.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if Amazon has them.
Amazon
or
does. Amazon
do
has
they?
them.
I have both like paper copies and Kindle copies.
Yeah, and it might be worth the check to see if there's an audiobook too.
That's what I'm
Sure,
doing.
there
Is the
probably are for at
audiobook.
least some of them. If by now, like it'd be weird if they didn't.
Oh, well, that's weird. Apparently, I have one of them in my library, and I didn't even know it. Apparently, I must. Yeah, let's see. How many? I got Seasons of the Storm, Lady of the Lake, Baptism of Fire, Time of Contempt, Tower of Swallows, Sword of Destiny, Blood Elves, and I've got the last.
Start with
Start
with the two that are the short stories, and then do the novels.
Okay.
I just have the novels. I think. Let me look what I have.
I've got the Last Wish, and I don't even remember. I don't remember when I bought it. I don't think I've listened to it. It's weird. Why would I? It's not like me to. Oh, I'll buy this audiobook and then I'll never listen to it. You know, usually it's. So somehow I don't know how I missed that one. So okay, well, you know, there's some more audiobooks I can buy, and I didn't even realize it. That's when you know you listen to too many audiobooks, is when you have audiobooks that you buy and you don't realize that you bought them. So, but what are you gonna do? But yeah,
You gotta stop buying audiobooks because you got too many.
Well,
you don't even remember what you got.
The thing about it is you know, I've gotten to a point now where I've bought all the Star Wars. I've listened to all the Star Wars audiobooks that I want to listen to. I'm not going to say I listened to all of them because there's old stuff that I haven't. But all the new stuff I've listened to either by buying them with my Audible credits or borrowing them from the library through the Libby app. But you know, I've run out of new Star Wars books. I have the ones I have are pre-ordered. I've got pre-orders out until August of books that, you know, that haven't even come out yet. So it's like now it's like, what am I going to listen to? And here's The Witcher. I didn't even realize that.
The Name of the Wind books, or the audiobooks for that, are pretty good. They're long, but they're good. They're narrated by somebody who's pretty interesting. I own the first Witcher book. That is, and I have not read it.
Yeah. I'll have to listen to it because, like I said, I didn't even realize I had the audio book. So there you go. Oh man, I'm a terrible Witcher fan. So.
Oh no. I think you'll be fine, John.
No, yeah, I know.
But it's more like you're a terrible knower of what you have in your library.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what's bad is when you have a big library and you don't realize it's in there. Thank goodness it goes through and goes, you have listened to this book. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Did I? Yeah.
So eventually I'll go back through them and listen to them again. But yeah, so Witcher 3. Yeah, I've been seeing your pictures, you know, that you'll, Steam will go, your friend has posted new pictures. And I'll go over and look at it and go, oh, look at this great vista that Nathaniel has taken a picture of.
Yeah, mostly like just like sunset shots or just random landscape things. I haven't taken a bunch in a while, but I will start once I do Blood and Wine. Since it's a new map, I'll probably be taking a bunch more of screenshots of that.
Well, it'll let me know. And I will look at it.
Sure does look good with the ray tracing on. Still looks pretty good without it on. And
yeah.
If I don't have ray tracing on, it runs at like 110, 120 frames a second. If I do have it on, it's like 40 to 60.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, the other.
So, yeah, I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just about like that's pretty much all for Witcher. Yeah. The other thing that we've all been playing is Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes. Does anybody beat it? Did anybody beat it yet?
Not yet.
No, I haven't beat it yet either.
I played a couple hours.
I've played almost 10, not quite, and I've done 7 of the chapters, so I'm ready to start chapter 8.
Yeah. I've only played it a couple
hours. And there are 12.
Too.
There's 12 total.
Yeah, it's a fairly short game. I mean, short. You know, I mean, 10, 12 hours is no small feat, but it's shorter than 40, 50, 60 hours. That's the one that as soon as Microsoft Shadow dropped that one and I saw it, I went, I gotta play it. But I was on the road in a hotel room and I went, oh, I don't have my Xbox, so I don't have Game Pass with me, so I'm gonna do it. So I just bought it on Steam and downloaded it because I was like, you know what, this looks like a game. It's right up my alley. I really, I like the style of it. I like the premise of it. I'm sure I'm gonna like it, and yeah, I like it a lot. It's a cool quote unquote rhythm game. I mean, it is rhythm to an extent, but it's not hardcore. Oh, you messed it up. I don't think.
Yeah.
It's very forgiving.
How deep you get into it, yeah, it is forgiving, but it is very much a hardcore rhythm game.
Yeah,
I really it's very forgiving in that it's not that like say Guitar Hero,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Thing where wherever you're hitting the button is where it's doing it. It's always going to do it on the beat.
Yeah,
but you get bonus, I guess, or whatever for actually hitting on the beat. You get the whole goods and perfect and stuff that you find in a rhythm game, but the actual animations and stuff are always on there, so you always sound good. It's not like you get all the that you would have from Guitar Hero. You're like, oh, I'm just screwing it all up and it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It always sounds good, so it's always like, you're feeling the groove the whole time you're playing.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful game. I love the animation style. For it to have come from the developers that it came from, it's like, this is a weird.
Evil Within and Hi-Fi Rush. These things are not the same.
Yeah, these things. And they did Ghostwire Tokyo too, didn't they? Didn't they do that one? I
think so.
And it's like, then they bring out this game. It's like, huh. Well, that's an odd game. That doesn't look like a game. It looks like something Sega would bring out. It doesn't
I
look
haven't
like
played any of the games. This is their absolute best game.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Just because of how polished this one is. It's so good.
Yeah. And
I would call it a character action game plus a platformer plus rhythm because everything in the world is set to the beat. So there's things in the background in the environment that are pulsing and stuff, and then whenever you're hitting buttons, it will be doing more things in the environment. Things will light up, and you have the music has all sorts of fun little hits and offbeat pops and claps and things to let you know you're doing combos correctly and all this stuff. It's just really, really well done.
Yeah, and for them to have kept it totally under wraps, never heard anything about. Check out this game. Here's a preview trailer. Here's hey, we've been working on this game and it comes out today. You could buy it and play it. It's on Game Pass. Boom. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was their idea. So.
Yeah. Hey,
they did it.
More games like that, please. I like that. That made me feel like I was 12 years old, living in the late 80s, early 90s, where you didn't have the internet. All you had was magazines, and sometimes games came out and you never knew when they were coming out. You just went to the store and went, hey, there it is on the shelf. I'm going to buy it. That's the way
hey, there it is.
That's the way it felt. And I like that because, when it comes out like that, you have no expectations of anything other than that first impression that you see or play, when you play it. I mean, I like it.
But Dennis isn't here because I don't know if he's played it yet or not. I haven't asked. But it seems very much like it'd be a Dennis game.
Yeah, I haven't.
He likes that rhythm sort of stuff.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned it, so I don't know. I'm sure he probably has at least tried it, if not played it. So.
Yeah. But I mean, the animation is great. Playing it on PC is awesome because I'm getting, very smooth frame rates. I set the limit to 90 or something just because I didn't need any higher than that.
Well, I played the majority of it on Steam Deck, and it runs at 60 frames a second. I think it's high settings. Maybe it's medium or high or very high, a mix of the two. I can't remember which, but yeah, I mean, it runs great on Steam Deck and looks awesome, even though it's, a small screen. I was very impressed.
Yeah, they definitely put a whole bunch of, programming and testing and all that stuff into it before they put it out because it definitely runs pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I've even run into anything with it other than maybe a hitch here or there or something when it's loading a cutscene, but nothing that other games don't do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it has a really cool art style. It does some of the same kind of animation tricks that the Spider-Verse movie did to make it have that kind of comic booky cartoon feel. It's just It's so good. And then like it'll go into an actual cutscene and then go back out into gameplay, and it just looks almost exactly the same. You can tell when it's a pre-rendered thing versus when it's running an engine, but
Right.
not by that much. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, we're having a fun, energetic, just music, right, like rhythm action game where the main character is kind of an idiot and everyone like calls him an idiot, and it's fun.
Yeah.
There you go. It's just a fun game.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not some big bloated open world thing. She's like, nope, here's a bunch of levels, go through them. They're pretty decently sized levels, but it's a pretty linear game, and that's nice to have every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a really good game. A lot of people have already got it on their list for game of the year at this point.
How far have you guys gotten into it then? With like kind of
like an hour maybe.
I've
on the first chapter.
I think I've played maybe 2.5 hours, something like that.
Okay, so you guys have not gotten into the quote unquote real part of the game then.
Yeah.
Because they keep adding stuff for the first probably 3 or 4 levels mechanics wise. So you get like a grappling hook. Eventually, you get a counter button. You have, you have like the dodge dash. You have all of your like different attacks. Like your light and your heavy attack is early on. So then they combined it in a bunch of different ways. You get kind of partner people that you could call in and do different things. And yeah, it can get really, really crazy too. Like the enemies get new abilities as you go, and you keep getting new enemies as you keep going that like do new stuff. So like, oh hey, this one you have to counter them in order to like unlock them to be able to do damage. And this one you can only dodge stuff. And this one they're up in the air shooting you, so you have to like get up and do aerial combos to get them. And they do all sorts of weird combinations of all these different enemies, and it gets really crazy once you get kind of halfway through where I'm at.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get a little deeper into it, but I hadn't had a whole ton of time to play. And then by the time I did have time to play, Hogwarts came out, so I've been playing that. So
like Hi-Fi Rush just nails the basic kind of mechanic in a fun way of just like light attack is like every beat. So like if you have 4 beats in a measure, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can hit it, and the heavy attack takes 2 beats to do, and just that weird simple thing like mixes everything up in a way that like makes combos fun to pull off. You're just like feeling the rhythm with it. It's just really, really simple idea of like, hey, heavy attacks because they're heavy take a little bit longer, so that's 2 beats of the music. Cool.
Yeah.
And like all the ways that like creative ways that they have to like mix that up for just the different combos that you can buy and unlock are really cool. And then you have like your special attacks and your finishers and stuff that you add on. And even just like outside of fights, all the different creative, fun, like hidden rooms and things you can find to get all your unlockables and your collectibles and things. It's just a really, really fun, well-designed game.
Yeah. I'm really impressed by it. Even though I haven't played a ton of it, I'm really impressed by it. It's probably, it's only February, but so far it's one of my favorite games of the year. It still seems a little early to go, oh, it's on my game of the year list. Well, of course it is. It came out in January. I mean, it's
my number one game that's come out this year because it's the only game that came out this year that I have played so far. But I will be very, very surprised if it's not on my top 10 list at the end of the year.
Yeah,
because that would mean that a whole bunch of other games came out that are way better, and like that would mean for a really awesome year of games, but kind of doubt that's gonna happen. But even if it like that many come out, like Hi-Fi Rush itself is just so much fun to play. It's really, really good that just like I don't think it's gonna knock off my list.
Yeah, I don't either. So the only other game I've been playing, like I said, is Hogwarts Legacy. I think I'm about 8 or 9 hours into it, something like that. I paid the $10 extra on Steam to get the 72 hours early, which, let me tell you something.
How much more was it?
It made it $70. It was $60. It was $60 for the base game, $70 for the deluxe edition. But like on Xbox, if you bought it, it's $70 for the regular edition and $80 for the deluxe. So PC was a little bit cheaper anyway, as it tends to be. But but the problem was they didn't have any preload for it. So before I left the house, I couldn't preload the game, so it would unlock on Tuesday. But Monday night, about 7 o'clock in the evening, they said, "Hey, guess what? We're going to do preload." And I'm like, "Great!" I'm stuck in a hotel room with 5 meg downloads, so I was like, "Well, let me start it." Yeah, I started it and went, "Oh, look, it's going to take 14 hours to download." So I just set the Steam Deck over on the side, went to bed, got up in the morning, still downloading, went to work, finished work, came back that afternoon and went, "Oh, it's done downloading. Let's go ahead and play." It took like 12 or 13 hours to download. But I bet I drug everybody else I bet everybody in the hotel was going, "What's going on with the internet? It's something dragging down." Yeah, it's my little old Steam Deck dragging everything down. I really, for somebody who knows this much about Harry Potter, and I really don't know a whole lot about Harry Potter. I've watched a couple of the movies.
That's a lie, kids.
No, I don't. All I know is my great niece and great nephew love it. We buy them a Harry Potter Lego every year.
Yeah, good stuff.
You know, my wife knows more about it than I do. She read the books, of course, being a school teacher and everything with elementary school kids.
The Harry Potter Lego games are pretty good if you like that. Collectathon 9000.
Yeah, well, Collectathon 9000, you could say that about Hogwarts Legacy, because holy crap, there is a bunch of stuff you could collect. Puzzles out galore. Oh, you want to collect all these things and the puzzles? Here's these statues. You got to figure out how to do this. Oh, there's these walls that you can open up. Well, you got to do math and figure out pictures and this and that. And
he said math.
Yep, there's math. Yeah, there's a little bit of math in there. But yeah, it's a little. It runs a little wonky. Even on PC, it runs a little wonky. Right. I can run it on pretty high settings on this PC with ray tracing. And usually with ray tracing on, it'll run anywhere from 60 to 100 frames a second. Sometimes it will dip down into the lower 50s. With ray tracing off, it will bounce from 60 to 120 to 90 to 80. It's not that you could feel it moving, but man, when you put a counter on the screen just to see what kind of FPS you're getting, it's just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like that on the Steam Deck too. It'll run inside when you're in the castle moving around. It'll run at about 50 to 60 frames a second. You go outside, it runs from 30 to 40 frames a second, which is awful. No, it's not awful.
It's not unplayable.
I just wish, even capping it at 30,
consistency.
Yeah, I just want a consistent frame rate. It doesn't need to be 60 all the time. It doesn't need to be 40 all the time. I would like it to be a constant 40, but it's not going to happen. I mean, I'm running it on low settings on Steam Deck with FSR2 quality mode. And, I mean, it looks great. Even on low settings, it looks great on a 8-inch screen at 800p. Everything looks fine on it. The crowd density is not real big. What was funny was when I uploaded it on the PC and thought, well, let me boot it up on the PC just to see it in all its glory running like this. I'm like, holy crap, there's like 20,000 people standing around here. I'm moving through crowds and things like that. Well, there's a crowd density slider, and when you play it on the low graphics, it sets it down, and maybe there's a room where there's 20 people in, there's only like 3 or 4 people in. So it's like, oh, it's not really that crowded. And then I play it on the PC where I can really horse it out. It's like, oh my gosh, there's 100 people in this room. No wonder you can't, but you don't have to play with ray tracing on. It looks pretty. The lights look nice. The reflection on the floor through the stained glass looks nice. The water looks nice. But to me, it's like, do I want that frame rate hit? I'd rather have a constant 60 frames a second than I would. It's at 50, 60, 80, 70, 60, 50, 80. It just fluctuates all around. And I guess it's just poor optimization. I don't know. But when it first came out on Steam Deck, there was no shader downloads because it was early it was, we were 3 days early. The day one patch wasn't even out yet. How could you have a 72-hour early release and not have the day one patch available for everybody? It didn't download until it launched for everybody.
You can't have a day one patch come out before day one.
I guess. I don't know. It just seemed really weird to me. I was like, well, why don't you just go ahead? I mean, because like Friday when the full game came out, there was like 650,000 people playing that game on Steam. It was like, I don't even know how Steam wasn't breaking with that many people playing one game, but
because they play that many on
I guess
as well.
Yeah,
like, Steam is a behemoth at this point.
Yeah,
it takes a lot to bring it down.
Yeah, but I was glad I installed that SSD in that faster SSD in the Steam Deck, because that's where I downloaded the game to play it at, because it recommended an SSD, and I see why, because when you go from one room to another, there's a little bit of loading. When you go from outside to inside, there's a lot of loading. If you're not on the SSD, you literally are running through the castle, stop at the door, and there's just a circle. Just then the door's open,
Yeah, so you're saying if I put it on mine and I put it on the micro SD card, I would... Yay, load time.
Yeah, you're going to have long load times, because like down here, when I put it on the PC, I thought, well, you know what, let me put it on the external drive. It's USB 3.0. Let me see how it runs on that. And even at 3.1 USB, which is pretty fast, you'd hit that door and it would still just go loading, pop, and then you go
pretty
out.
Fast for an external drive.
Yeah, it was for an external drive. But on the Steam Deck, it's like I hit the wall, there's one, it'll make 2 rotations, and then I'm out the door, and it's not that bad. It does kind of take away from things. But even people on like PlayStation 5 are saying, and Xbox, that have them like internal hard drives like that, the NVM, they still have that load time when you hit the door. And it's like, I thought the PlayStation, had this super technology in that hard drive that they could it would be instantaneous loading. But
it does if you program it for that.
So
if you don't, like a third-party game probably will not. Then it's not going to take advantage of that.
And I'm shocked by this. I'm just shocked. It's
like every other game that's at the same type of thing.
Every other game. But the combat is very interesting, because I wondered how that was going to work. I mean, you have your face buttons, your A, B, X, and Y down in the corner. You hold the right trigger, and that's where you have your major spells attached to. If you just need to shoot, a regular attack, you just pull the right trigger and go pew, 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 pew. Yeah, I mean, but
every time you attack, you yell, magic missile.
Yeah, and you do. I mean,
wrong universe.
Yeah, when you hold it down, if you're casting whatever thing you're casting, he will say it. Not every time, thank goodness, because that would be like some weird.
That would get so old.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that would be bad.
Well, I've played a lot of Japanese RPGs that when they're doing that, they just constantly do it over and over and over and over. It will say it once or twice, but it won't say it like every time. He just won't sit there and go blah blah blah. Thank goodness, it's like that would be annoying. But it's almost like Batman Arkham City or Spider-Man. You'll have little flashes right before you get an attack, so you can have a time to counter it, whether it's a shield or you roll out of the way or something like that. So it's kind of familiar combat, but it's more magic instead of punching and kicking. It's really not bad. I that was the thing that I questioned the most about was the combat in the game, how that was going to work, if it was going to feel, I don't want to say natural, but if it was going to feel good, if it was going to be clunky or something like that. A lot of times it's I'm still trying to remember, oh my gosh, I got to hold the right trigger down, and which one is A is what? And you could set all that, but man, there is a big book of spells, and there's a lot of spells that I want to have on hand all the time that I can't, because there's 4, you can only have 4 at a time, and there's some spells you really need during combat, and some that you don't need during, just during regular play, like invisibility and stuff like that. But I mean, there's so far, I mean, I haven't got to the part where I learned to fly yet, but I mean, there's a dueling tournament where you duel other, students and climb up the tournament ladder. The story is pretty interesting. There's tons of side quests. It's just a really, really good Western RPG. And even if you don't like Harry Potter or don't know anything about Harry Potter, I think you'd still enjoy the game, just from a pure stance of
the
gameplay and the story and the RPG. Because I mean, with it being set in like the 1800s, there's no mention of Harry Potter. There's no mention of Dumbledore or any of that stuff. It's just Hogwarts, and and you're a student, and you got other students, and it's like you could almost just go, well, this is just an RPG in some kind of RPG world. It's not really Harry Potter world, but it is a wizard, or whatever they call it, wizarding world, whatever they call that. See, I don't even know. I just really looked when I saw the Sony gameplay trailer special thing they did. I was like, you know what, that kind of looks fun. I kind of think I like that. And so far it is. You'll be walking around the castle and you'll hear voices, and it'll be two people in a painting talking to each other, or it'll be a statue or it'll be two ghosts running around chasing each other, yelling at each other. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. And right now, that's pretty much all about I want to play, is that when I have time to play. I think after the way it's been this week is after dinner, sit down on the couch in the hotel room and play it till time to go to bed, which is about 3 hours a night. So it's like I've got nothing else to do. So let's play that. But yeah, I'm really surprised how well it runs on Steam Deck. With not a lot of Steam Deck modifications right out of the box. They have had some Vulkan shaders download, which has improved things a lot. But even on low settings, it looks really nice. I mean, of course, it doesn't look as nice as it does on next gen, but I mean, it still looks nice and is very playable. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. I mean, I know not everybody is picking it up because of things with Rowling, which I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, I know what I read in headlines on Kotaku, and
yeah, I saw there's like a Humble bundle right now too. That's like you can buy games if you aren't interested in supporting her. You can support these other games.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. We're not going to get political into it. I'm interested in Harry Potter. Am I interested in the game? Maybe. Actually, probably yes, but I just don't have the time right now. So I imagine it's probably 50 hours.
Yeah, I think like if you just do the main storyline, I think they said it was like 20, 25 or something like that. But if you do all the side quests, all the collectibles, and all that stuff, you could be up in the upper 80s, something like that. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, like once things open up, there's like a crap ton of side quests, and I haven't even touched half of them yet. Just ones that I run by, I'll go, oh yeah, there's that one. Oh yeah, I'll do that real quick. It's just right up here. But I mean, there's like 20 side quests that load up right off the bat. It's like, holy fright, I really need to do the main quest so I can get this spell and learn that so I can go this way and do that. It's like, Lord, 20 side quests right off the bat. All right. And I like Avalanche. Avalanche is a really good studio. I always liked Disney Infinity. I always had the fun with those games, and it's those guys doing it. So, it's fun. They make fun, entertaining games. So when I saw Avalanche was, because I didn't realize it. Well, shoot.
They have a very stupidly confusing name for me, because I keep thinking it's the Just Cause studio, which it's not, because it's Avalanche. Like, that's Avalanche. So I forget. Like, the second word is different for each one, but it's like Avalanche is all you usually hear them referred to by. So I'm like, wait, which Avalanche is it?
Right, yeah. And let's see, who did the Mad Max game? Was that Avalanche?
I think so.
2015. Because I really liked that game too. And I thought it was Avalanche. Yep,
I think that's
Avalanche Studio
That's
Group.
the other Avalanche.
That's the other
Avalanche.
One.
It's like, which one is it?
Nope.
I don't know.
That's the Just Cause. That's the Just Cause.
We should just say like all of them from both is just one entity now.
Exactly.
That's what you get for having two studios named almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Avalanche and Avalanche Studios. Or Avalanche Studios Group, which is Avalanche Software. I don't know. It's it's like, why does everybody have Why does two companies have such a closely?
I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they did that because, like, I don't know, maybe unless they both started around the same time and didn't realize the other existed. Because if there's enough offset, like, you'd figure, like, when you're naming it, there'd be some sort of weird, like, hey, there's this other studio out here that's named very similar. You probably don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, as of right now, unless I just hit some kind of brick wall, I think that's what I'm going to be playing till Star Wars comes out. I guess that's what, the end of March now, because it got pushed back, or is it
April? It was March.
That's right. I was going to say, I couldn't remember when it was. I don't know. I have the prequel book pre-ordered so I can listen to that, and it comes out in March. I don't know if it got pushed back too, since the game got pushed back.
Who knows?
And I've got to decide where I want to buy that at. I mean, I know I'm going to buy it on PC to play on Steam Deck, but I'm also going to buy it on Xbox because there's probably going to be, I don't know. I need to studios
or
need
you
to come
could
out
just
early.
not do that because it will probably be on Game Pass like not too long, so you play it on PC until it comes out on Game Pass.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I could do that. There's some games though I like to have a physical copy of, but of course I can wait until. I mean, what could you buy a physical copy of Fallen Order for now? Like $10, $20, probably less than that. That game goes on sale on Steam all the time for under $7. It's amazing how often that thing goes on sale. But I mean, it runs pretty good on Steam Deck, so I'm hoping the new one runs pretty good on Steam Deck. I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Who knows? There's no way to tell.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I know, right? I'm surprised how well Hogwarts ran on Steam Deck. I really didn't figure it was going to run that good, but it really does. So it gives me hope for other newer games coming out that, hey, maybe they will actually run kind of decently on there enough to play them. So
depends on how well they optimize it for lower system specs.
Yeah.
And or the Steam Deck itself.
Well, and I
would
guess
think probably would, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, and I guess too, one of the things that kind of helps Hogwarts is, I mean, there is a Switch version coming out, so I don't know how well that thing is going to run, but I can't imagine it running real well. But
and no, it's the Steam Deck is one thing, but the Switch is just like a whole few more steps down the power ladder.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah. The old Switch is going to run that real well.
Yeah, I can only imagine. No. But that's all I've been playing. So, Eric, you want to finish with what you've been playing?
I also have been playing Hi-Fi Rush as well. But I'm not as far. Like an hour into it. It's not bad. My friend said that wearing headphones made a difference for he was getting. I think he was playing on Xbox. He said he was getting latency. And I didn't really notice any latency. I'm not good at rhythm games by nature, so
yeah.
But it's not bad. It's a fun game. The art style's good. It's a little kind of slow in the beginning, but that's okay. Kind of understand it. I think I actually played it because I was looking for something to play, waiting for something else to download, which tends to be what I do. Oh, hey, what's this game? Let me fire this up. So yeah, I played it for about an hour. I enjoyed it. I will definitely circle back around to it.
See, I play all games with a headset on, so
yeah. But this is downstairs on my TV, so
yeah. I mean, even with my TV, I play.
Oh, the Xbox is downstairs.
I play with headset on. I have an adapter plugged into the Xbox and just play that one.
It's a little bit easier to tell with headset on because I've played with headphones and on my PC speakers. I like the PC speakers because then you get the sub under my desk going, but you get a little bit more of the details in it from having a good pair of headphones on, so it can make it a little bit easier to just tell where the beat is.
Yeah.
But not by anything terrible, so it's just you don't have to play with headphones, but it can make it a little bit better.
Right.
And I've been playing what else? I've been playing High on Life. Still trying to finish that up. I've been distracted a little bit by some other games. I still like that. We talked about it before in the previous show. I mean, it's a funny FPS if you like, playing stuff like the South Park.
I have it
And
on
if you really-
Steam, and I have yet to boot it
If
up.
you really like Rick and Morty, you know, you'll feel right.
Is
at
it
home
a
with the games.
funny person shooter then? Is that what we're doing?
Ah.
Unlike me, huzzah.
I see what you did there.
They do have a nice feature. I did mention. I did mention something last time. Is they have the option to like turn down the voices, so the guns and stuff in the world talk to you.
Right.
And I think some people are complaining it's getting annoying. So there's an option in the settings to turn that down so that it will talk less to you. Because every time you pull out the gun, it talks. Every time you fire it, it talks. It makes comments about the world, so you can shut that off. But it's the charm of the game, if you won't think of it that way. It's something a little bit different. Okay. I also played a little bit of Sunset Overdrive. Again, I think I was waiting for an update for something. Yeah, we got this. I'll give it a shot. I have played Sunset Overdrive before. I played it when they demoed it at PAX, like way back when.
It's been a long time ago for that.
Yeah.
It's still fun. I forgot that it's just pretty much a giant run around, blow stuff up, casual sort of fun.
Yeah, it's all about grinding all the things around and getting the energy drink to kill the energy drink zombie things.
Yeah. The only other game I've been spending a lot of time with is both my friends that I play Dying Light 2 with wanted to start playing again. So I played with one of them. He's still not very far. He's probably played like 10 hours. But my other buddy, he's closer to where I am, so we could kind of do some quests together. That was good. They added it's been 1 year since it's been out. It was the first game I played for PS5, and so they have all this additional for supporting the game. They have all this stuff they're giving away free, tons of new weapons and costumes, and I was like, holy cow! So, but it's been good. It's Dying Light. Whenever. The problem is, I usually go 2 or 3 months before playing it, going back to it. So I got to teach myself the mechanics, especially how to use the glider and the grappling hook. I usually die because I'm like, oh, fall off the building. Oh, wrong button. No, splat. But yeah, we were complaining about how in the first Dying Light, your stamina was unlimited. So you could you could run from the zombies, get on a building or a light pole, climb as high as you want, fight them, no issues. But in this game, stamina is limited, and it's an important mechanic, but it does get annoying sometimes. You're trying to run, or you're helping your friend, and he's too low of a level, and he's getting overwhelmed. So you're in there killing zombies at night, but your stamina is going down. You're thinking, man, if this was unlimited, I could just destroy everything. It's still a fun game. The matchmaking and co-op stuff is still pretty good. It worked well about 90%. I mean, I have no problem playing with my buddies on PS4. That's a little bit of a sale post for it, but that's it. I have not been playing very much. We got a new cat, so that.
Wow, yeah, I understand that. We got a puppy back in November, and I sat down and tried to play something on the Steam Deck, and she's just up in my face. Hey, let's play.
Hey, what you doing?
Yeah, what's going on? Let's play. But yeah, I totally get that. Well, since it's kind of light on what we've been playing this week, we at least have the Nintendo Direct to talk about.
Do we?
Well,
do we really?
I know
It was a big old yawn. The only thing that was decent was okay, some new footage of Zelda, but it's we already knew Zelda's coming, so it's cool, but whatever. And then it's hey, here's this DLC expansion. Here's this thing. Here's this remaster of an old game. Hey, we're re-releasing this old game. Here's this other thing you already knew about. It was just not anything in the way of cool surprises, really.
Other than the Metroid Prime Shadow Drop that they did.
It's kind of cool, I guess, but no, not really. I love that game, but no, Nintendo, just no. You should have done all three at once and done the trilogy. Or at least told us we're working on the other two, but yeah. Also $40. Nah, I'm not gonna buy it again for that.
I did pre-order it physically for $40. I'll do physical, but I will not. To me, if it was digital only, I'm not paying $40 for it.
It's I've played through that game. I probably played through it at least 3 times on GameCube and at least once or twice on the Wii with the trilogy collection thingy. Is I don't need to buy it again.
Which you can still buy on the Wii U for $20.
And it's just this is all Nintendo is at this point. They've always been this, but they're even worse, I think, in the last 5-6 6 years. Once you got past the first couple of years of the Switch, it's just like, here's all this old stuff again. So if you've played the old stuff, like, hey, Pikmin 4 looks like a good Pikmin game, but I've played enough Pikmin that I don't care. It's just for me. I am out of the Nintendo regurgitation train for the most part, except for like Zelda is the only thing that has its hooks in me still.
Yeah, I will say that if Twitter is any indication, Metroid Prime remaster, holy fright! I mean, that was what everybody wanted, and that's what everybody on the Switch was playing.
It looks good. I watched a video on it, and then like a comparison video compared to like the original GameCube release. And like, yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
but I'm still not buying it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I went on Amazon and pre-ordered the physical version when it came up, and they say it ships the 13th, which is in 2 days. So we'll see.
It's a giant crate in a warehouse just waiting. It's like, all right,
I guess. Go, I don't know. That's crazy though, to have to shadow drop it and have physical copies ready and sitting in a warehouse somewhere to ship and not a peep out of anybody. That's weird.
Yeah,
you can't.
Pretty hush hush.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even go to GameStop without some GameStop manager taking a picture of it and going, "Look, we got this in," and nobody knows anything about it.
We're not gonna break the street tape.
Yeah. But yeah, they did that. They had the release date, of course, for Zelda, but the pre-orders went up for Zelda. The collector's edition pre-orders went up at some
we
places.
already knew the date for Zelda. That's not new.
But the pre-orders went up, and we found out that it's going to cost $70 instead of $60.
Is that actually confirmed?
Yep.
I didn't pay attention.
If you go anywhere to pre-order,
the rumors of it.
If you go
okay,
anywhere to pre-order it now, it's $70. The day before the direct, GameStop still had it for $59, so I pre-ordered it through there just to get it for $10 cheaper.
I get it. I hate it. Like Nintendo, you can't charge $70 for things that are not like current gen things. It's even annoying on like PlayStation and Xbox. But because it's Zelda, they know they can. So it makes sense. It's fine, but it's just kind of like, I don't want to pay that. So if that game has any kind of issues with like performance or whatever when it comes out, I'm not going to be buying it right away. I'll have to wait.
Yeah.
Not for $70, guys. It better be like pristine.
Well, and the one thing that they said is this is not going to be the price for every new Nintendo release going forward. It's just, they're just trying the $70 to see what it is. I'm like,
and guess what? Everyone's going to pay it because you have to. And then when the next giant Mario, like main Mario game comes out, it'll be $70.
Absolutely. And so will the Pokemon.
Right.
So will the Pokemon.
They're doing like the first party bite. All right, if we can sell this to 70 and we hit this number, all right. Everything else. 70,
well, see,
70.
that's, and I don't know if you guys ever remember this or not, but when Halo 2 came out, games
back in 2003.
Games were still like $49.99 then, and they brought out that collector's edition with the steel book and everything, and they charged $10 more. And the only reason Microsoft did it was they wanted to see if people would pay $60 for a video game. And guess what? We all paid $60 for a video game to get that cool steel box that we never seen before in a game, and then that became the status quo price for games on the 360. They were $60, and they've stayed that way for 20 years. But I agree with you, Nathaniel. It's like, it's hard for me to say, yes, I will pay $70 day one for a game on the Switch, when the Switch is going, by the time that thing comes out, Switch is going to be almost 8 freaking years old. And
like, we already have any game coming out for Switch.
Oh, no, don't do math.
But is this going to be one of the things where this is the game that comes out, and then they say, oh, hey, our new system's coming.
Well,
putting it on that as well.
What I wonder, too, if it's going to...
I mean, it will be on the new system, unless the new system is another, 5-10 years away or something, and even then it will be, because it's Nintendo. They will release crap all the time.
Yep.
It'll be there.
But like Pikmin, well, go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
But do you think people are more excited about Metroid or the new Zelda game? I was thinking, man, it's got to be I think people might be more excited for Metro.
Well, right
Yes,
now I think they
people
are
want
because
Zelda.
it's out.
Because it's
They
here.
have it in their
So it's
hand.
like, hey, it's a thing and it's a classic. We know this is good.
The thing is with Zelda right now, it's we just got to get that pre-order in for the collector's edition. We want that collector's edition. Which, by the way, I miss GameStop, I miss Target, I missed Walmart.
It's up and it goes, and scalpers already got it, and it's selling for $300 on eBay.
It hasn't come up on Amazon yet, so I'm just waiting on Amazon to drop it. But the problem is
Amazon.
I'm always working when they drop the pre-orders, and I don't, and it's gone before
it closes so fast.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, because I want the collector's edition just because I have the collector's edition of the other one. I just want, I don't like mismatching.
You're looking at, like, if you want on a secondary market, it's about $200 to $300.
No, it's barely worth $130, much less.
Those are pre-orders too.
Yeah, no, don't go on eBay and buy a scalped pre-order. That's stupid.
And that's my problem. Is I really wanted the Last of Us Firefly edition for PS5. Well, that pre-order window was very, very small. Mostly scalpers got it, and now you can't get a copy for less than $200 because of the show's popularity.
Well, if you could get one that's not tore up.
Oh,
Sony sent.
They're all smashed.
Yeah, Sony set them things out and put them in plastic or in labels or padded envelopes, and the tape stuck to the package of the game. So when you tore it open, there's glue on the back of it with the manila or the packing envelope. And like people are ordering, and then they're like complaining to Sony, going, "Hey, we want that." And Sony's like, "We don't have any more." Well, then why did you package them that way? That was so stupid. And that's what I was afraid was going to happen with the collector's edition. That's why I haven't been able to get like the Fire Emblem collector's editions, because they were only available directly from Nintendo, and they went like so quick you couldn't. Window. Yeah, and and Sony did that with that Last of Us thing. It's just like, no, don't let this become a trend unless you're going to have enough to leave it up for a couple days, because holy fright. But some highlights, like you said, Nathaniel, Pikmin 4, it looked fine. It's a Pikmin game with a dog now. Okay, gotcha.
Like that Pikmin.
They did the...
Except if you think about it, that's a very, very, very tiny dog.
Yeah, it really is. But anyways, they added Game Boy games to the classic gaming library. If you're a regular online paying member, you get the regular Game Boy games. If you pay for the Plus, you get the Game Boy Advance games. And I'm like, come on, this putting stuff behind the Plus, I don't like it.
Or hey, putting it on Nintendo Online in the first place is still stupid because you're still paying to get old stuff.
Yeah.
So it's an extra 10, so it would be 60 a year or 70 a year.
I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't keep track of that pricing because
Yeah, we do the family share thing, so for us it costs $5 or less. So it's like, I don't care. Let them listen. I think it's like $4 it costs us or something.
Yeah, I was interested. I was like, oh, cool, GBA games. I could play like the Kirby stuff or Minish Cap, stuff I never played as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't have an EverDrive for Game Boy. I have a Game Boy Player, GameCube, so I can play it that way or emulation. But it's like, oh, great. And then you told me, oh yeah, the price goes up. I was like,
yeah, just play it on your Steam Deck.
Yeah, good enough.
Just play it on your Steam Deck. Let's see what else. Xenoblade DLC. I was trying to think. They did some Fire Emblem stuff. I know Dennis is knee deep into Fire Emblem. They finally announced the Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot will come out in April 21st. Great, thanks a lot, guys. I had that game pre-ordered a year ago and took it off because I got tired of waiting for it.
Yeah, I think my brother had a pre-order too.
I had to pay for it in full. I had to pay for it full, and then when I was like, you know what, there's no release date, forget it. Pull that pre-order. I'm done with it. I'll probably buy it at some point, but at this point, I'm not going to run out and pre-order it like I did the last time. Forget it. Fool me once. Other than that, there's a new Fantasy Life game. I kind of like that on the DS. Me and Nikki like to play the 3DS version of that. More Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, Wave 4. We're never going to get another new Mario Kart game on the Switch. It's just going to be, here's Mario Kart, DLC. And we're going to DLC it to death. Which, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say, which is brilliant on their part. But I haven't bought any of that DLC.
And they know what they're doing.
Haven't
Hey guys,
bought
you want
any
to play a
of
DS game on your Switch?
it. Yeah. No.
Ghost Trick. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anything about
This
that
is like,
game.
That's a cool game, actually.
I remember
that's
it
one
was
thing I
supposed to be pretty
saw.
cool. I never played that one, but I remember when it came out.
It's not horribly expensive on the secondary market. It used to be a lot more, but it came down a little bit in price. But it's a visual. No, it's not a visual novel. It's like a mystery game, or like an adventure kind of, right?
I think it's mystery and like some puzzle, puzzle
where's
solving
Ryan?
mechanics is the main part of it. But
Ryan played a lot of it, and I know he was pretty excited about it.
Yeah. I don't even remember.
I just wonder how well it will play on the Switch. I mean, I guess you'd have to play it with the touchscreen maybe, because I think it had touchscreen mechanics on or stuff. No, because it was DS.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't actually play it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to remember vaguely of like, wait, what was it back then on the trailers and stuff that I saw? It's old. Again, Nintendo just recycles old things very, very often.
right. Well, somebody they said it, and I'm like, should I know this game? I don't remember this game. What is it? I actually had to look it up. It was like, and I don't know why I don't remember it, but it didn't click. It didn't ring a bell in my brain for some reason. But
yeah, because it's one of those weird ones that you didn't think was going to come. It's one of those ones where you're like, really? That's out of the blue?
Yeah. Somebody somewhere is excited about it. Yeah. But me, I'm like, I don't know. Sabade Amigo. Everybody remember that game from the Dreamcast?
Yeah, I was asking somebody about that. I'm like, well, what is this like? Is it a remaster? Like, no, it's a brand new game. So I'm guessing we're going to be shaking cons then, right?
You can, yeah, you can shake the Joy-Cons. It's
Nope.
all the video that
I've
I've seen was.
Give me that Pro controller, please.
I want the Dreamcast adapter so I could actually use the maracas that they made for the.
John's over here shaking his Switch.
Yeah.
Just like, come on. No, I dropped it.
Let me tell you something. The puppy, I had my Steam Deck yesterday charging in the living room, and I had it on, and the puppy came over and grabbed the charging cable, which luckily I don't use the official charging cable come with it. I have a bot with a 10-foot USB-C cable on each end. She grabbed that cable, yanked it out of the wall, and took off with my Steam Deck, dragging across the living room floor. I was no.
But no damage.
No damage. Not even any damage to the
puppy's fine.
Puppy's fine. Yeah.
Just curious.
She got severe talking to and was not happy about
Don't
it.
do
But
that again.
she will not. Yeah. She went all flat-footed on the ground, belly on the floor when I started talking to her because she knew she did something wrong. I mean, she's a puppy. It happens, but at least it didn't break. But yeah, you said Steam Deck dropping. I was like, oh my gosh, let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, that was really. Is anybody interested in the Bayonetta Origins game? Does that?
No.
I was gonna say we got a guy. His name is
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Bayonetta has so much potential for all sorts of things. That is not that's just such a weird thing to do for that. Like, I would not be surprised if that was some other game early in development, and they're like, you know what? Let's put the Bayonetta name on it and turn it into this whatever.
Well,
it is.
Is it even made by?
I don't know. The only thing I know, so seeing it in the two Nintendo Direct trailer thingies that it's had so far.
Well, it's like it doesn't, and you go on their website and it doesn't tell you who the developer is. It just says who the publisher is. That's really weird, and I was wondering who it, if it was made by Platinum or if it was somebody.
I mean,
else.
I don't think it would be Platinum because it's not their kind of game.
Right. But who?
I mean, it could be, but it's just very much not the type of game that they usually make. So
look this up and see who it was.
I'll be very surprised if it's them. It feels like this is what it feels like to me from watching the trailer is like hey, we have this license and we have to make a game for it, or we will lose the IP because of whatever copyright yada yada deals that we have. So we'll just throw something out there, but that doesn't make sense because we just did Bayonetta 3. So like, who knows?
It is on the official Platinum Games page.
Oh.
So
maybe there's just a few people in there that are like, hey, we want to make this thing, and so they were able to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Way.
Well, there it goes. It says, yeah, if you go on their page, it says Developer Platinum Games.
It also has a really unwieldy title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 3D adventure game, it looks kind of.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Like almost like a little bit of like a cell shaded art style. It looks kind of. I don't know if I'm interested. Probably not for me, but
yeah, and I can't decide if I like it either. I just I don't.
Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis will be the one that'll try it out, and he'll tell us if it's any good or not. I mean,
I think it would probably be an okay game. It's not a Bayonetta game and maybe it'll be surprising when it comes out and it'll actually have the like weird Bayonetta weirdness, but because it's not Bayonetta in it, it will have a completely different vibe, which makes sense, I guess. Yeah. But part of what makes Bayonetta fun is just all the bonkersness of it. So if it doesn't have its own variety of bonkers, then it won't be as cool as it could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just watching.
Just the gameplay of it is just like, hey, we're going a complete opposite from, stylish character action game where the main character is just like everything you do is all action, beating things, kicking things, shooting things, and then like, hey, the main character of this game can't attack anything. You have to direct your like companion to attack things. It's just like, that's very, very different.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I like it. It's weird in that way, I guess.
And it's a $60 game too. That really surprises me too. I didn't.
If it's a $60 game, that's also weird. Like that looks like it should be kind of like a $20. It looks like if it wasn't the license on it, it looks like what would be a $20 indie game that would show up on Steam somewhere, and you'd be like, oh, hey, cool. I'll maybe try it out or not, depending on if you like the art style. But because it is involved with Bayonetta, ties into that somehow, like. Weird, but also $60. I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very strange. I
guess we'll know more when it releases and everyone talks about it, or they don't.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure Dennis will pick it up, or with him being at Nintendo Everything, they may get a review code for it. He may review it. Who knows? But
like, Dennis, is this worth our time or not? Please let us know.
He'll be the one to take the bullet on that one. We'll let him take the bullet on that one and tell us if it's worth our time or not. But I mean, I hate judging games by the price of it, but I look at that and then go $60. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like
part of it is you see what they show in the gameplay and. Like what this game is, and so that gives you an idea of like, okay, I'm betting this game is about large for many reasons. First, looking at the gameplay of that, like you couldn't sustain that for like a really, really long game. So how would it be a $60 game? It seems like it would be like a 5 to 10 hour game at most. So if it's longer than that, will the game still be fun that long? Or maybe it's just they're showing the first little bit and it has a whole bunch of surprises in it and it'll be awesome. Like, hopefully, but it just feels like a strange fit for like, this feels like a little side story game because that's what it is. So why is it a full price title? Like, there's a weird disconnect there that they haven't, really addressed or sold us on.
And with it being a published Nintendo game, the chances of it ever being less than $60 are slim to none. I mean, it's like Zelda. I guarantee that thing is going to be $70 from here to eternity. Breath of the Wild.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if it's as big as Breath of the Wild, it's a big game, and it feels like it because it's just that style of game. This feels like a smaller game. From the outset, you're like, all right. These are two different, very different flavors.
Yeah, it's just, that one was a weird one, and I don't know.
Hey,
we'll see.
You don't have to pre-order it. You can just wait and see what happens with it.
Yeah, and I
just like you should do for every game.
Yeah,
don't pre-order games.
I rarely pre-order games anymore. Like I said, the only reason I pre-ordered Hogwarts was I was doing the 72-hour early and was hoping they'd have a preload on. And they didn't. Well, I guess they kind of did, but not a lot. But Well, that's all I have to talk about. Has anybody got anything else or anything going on?
No, slow on the news.
Yeah, it's kind of slow on the news. I haven't watched Last of Us, so I know.
I have. They've got 5 episodes out now out of the 9 total, I think.
Yep.
Is it 9?
They're all excellent.
I'm curious where it's going to end for the next season. I have some ideas, but
They've said that this is season 1 and it's game 1 and season 2 will be game 2. I'm pretty sure they've said that.
Okay, that's good. They're progressing. Things are moving along pretty quick. My wife is definitely interested in it, so we're going to try to play The Last of Us on PS5 together. I'm going to play it. She's going to watch. You know, it's good, and it'll be a good chance for her to get contact.
Now, did they change the gameplay any on the PS5 version, or did they update it, or did I read something about that?
For the remake that came out last fall,
Uh-huh.
They did do some updates to kind of like AI and some things. I think it's probably like I barely looked at, but I know they did make some updates to it. Probably just like we'll make the gameplay pretty much the same as what Part 2 was.
And how different was Part 2 from Part 1?
I mean, it's
like iterative, where it's like you're still doing some of the same things. It's just executed a lot better and more polished than the first game was, because many years passed between those two games.
I think the second one, the Part 2, was more combat heavy. I mean, I think it was more options for combat, if I remember. It's been about
like you did end up getting a few more different like weapons and things in Part 2, plus just the way the AI worked in that game. They would flush you out of things, so it forces you to kind of like think on your feet a little bit more in some situations that were supposed to be kind of like combat heavy.
And I like The Last of Us story. I didn't like the gameplay of the first one.
Not for everybody.
So, that's why I was wondering, did they change it enough, in the remake that
I don't know how much that they would change it that would push it for you to like it, but I don't know. I can maybe tell you, I'm thinking we'll see where I'm at, but when the PC version comes out, I was thinking of maybe buying it, but
that's what I was thinking too, because it was like, well, I'll buy this game for a third friggin' time and play it probably to the exact same spot and go, you know what? I just can't get and I got, I don't know, almost halfway through the game, and then, I stopped because it was just like, I liked the story, but the gameplay just, I couldn't get into it. I didn't like it. I guess I wanted more of an Uncharted bang, bang, bang than sneaking around and, a little bit of banging. It just.
And you might like Part 2 better because you can play it a little bit more like that, because it's more about giving you options, so you can stealth through stuff, and there's a few areas that you kind of have to but you can run a gun a lot more in that game. If you want to.
I definitely felt like I was more like calm. There are some stealth pieces to it, but it was definitely more like Nathaniel said, like more. I feel like, okay, combat. I got more weapons this time. Come on, clickers, let's do this.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of like the way I like to play. Not that there's anything wrong with stealthy, but I just sometimes.
Well, it's like they give you options, so you can play it whichever way you want for some of them, and then some things it's like, okay, we want you to do stealth, but if you mess up, then you can still, like figure your way out of it. And then there's some where it's like, oh wait, stealth is gone in a more scripted sense too, where it's just like, hey, we're sending waves of things at you. So Part 2 definitely mixes things up a little bit more than the original kind of did. But I don't know what updates they did to the first one. I just remember hearing something about that they did some changes to it. So
this is one of the games where I own 2 versions on PS3, 2 on PS4.
Well, I bought the.
Something's wrong with me. Hurry!
I bought the collector's edition for the PlayStation 3 when it came out. It had the hardcover novel. I don't know if that was the collector's or the limited.
That's the Survivor
edition. And I bought that on PS3, and then I ended up selling it years ago.
I should have. Now it's worth a chunk of change. Now it's hard to find. I think it's worth like 200.
Wow, well, that's great. The book was awesome. I love the book. Cool. The book was really cool with it. Yeah.
That's an interesting for me. I think a guy on Cheap Ass Gamer was selling everything but the game and the steel book. So I got the outer shell, the art book, and the other stuff, and then I found the steel book cheap. And all right, I'll piece it together myself. It's on the shelf, and I'm like, I'm happy I got it. Pieced it together.
Yeah. See, I sold it all, but the game.
There is a collector's edition.
Yeah, it was really hard to get.
I think it has a statue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or something
Yeah, it had a
funny.
statue in it. It was hard to get because I was when I was still pre-ordering at stores, at GameStop. But and I pre-ordered that one and then didn't like the game and kind of shelved it. And then the PS4 version came out, and the GameStop was doing a deal where if you traded in the PS3 version, you got the PS5 version for like $10 or something like that. So I traded the game in and got the PS5 version and got to the exact same spot again and went, I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. It's like, it is, and now it's coming out on PC, and I was like, well, if they've changed some of the stuff and maybe it's more, I don't know. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Well, I mean, it's a very different kind of game than Uncharted, so you're not going to get that style
right.
of
Yeah.
gameplay out of it. It's much more like kind of not survival horror necessarily, but having some elements of that just with limited ammo. It depends on what difficulty you're on too, as well as for like how hard you want to make it on yourself.
Yeah, if you want that first game for PS3 collectors, you're looking at the statue alone is like $600.
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure.
Horribly expensive.
It was really hard to get. I mean, was I working at GameStop at that time? I think I was.
There's not very many came out.
And I couldn't even, and I was in the store the day the pre-orders came up and tried to pre-order, and they were gone before you could turn around, and then nobody else had them. So
it's pretty crazy. I own just like the regular version for Part 2, the one that came with the Steelbook for PS2, or sorry, PS4, and then I was like, oh look, they still have the collector's edition, the middle one, not the really expensive one. I was like, I'll buy it too. So I have that.
Yeah,
it's cool. And actually, what's funny is my buddy. I think when the show came out for Part 2, because he had the Part 2 collector's edition, I think he sold off his backpack and statue and he got like $150.
It's crazy.
It's like, I'm never gonna use it. I'm like, I don't know. Now that I told him, I'm like, I regret that. Like I told him, you're a fan of the show and the game. You're going to regret selling that. Yeah, you like money, but you want to get it down the road. It's a lot harder.
There's some things that I like. I have contemplated selling some of my video game collection off because it's just like I don't have time for it to play it. It's sitting on the shelf collecting dust. My NES games alone are worth like $5,000. It's like even I could sell them for half of that and be happy. But at the same time, it's like, the way prices are things, I will never buy them again. So it's like,
it comes down to thinking about like, well, I got that EverDrive.
Yeah.
Or I like the physical stuff. Or you look at the Dreamcast, I'm like, oh, they got the GDEMU. Oh, I could sell all my physical games, but then I will never be able to get a few of those games back for $200. So I'm like,
Well, that's like Panzer Dragoon Saga. I just, I could let that go for $1,000 easy, but I will never own a copy of it again, because one, I'm never going to pay that much for it, and two, you'll never hardly find a copy of it. So it's like, no.
yeah, and I know some of us on the show are big, digital gamers and owning stuff, and it just all depends.
Yeah, I mean, and I like my digital games. I love my digital games. I like physical games too, but at the same time, it's just like, why have I all this space of nothing? For just sitting on a shelf at this point.
And like the box PC games I have, they're not worth anything. I mean, there's a couple of the LucasArts stuff, but everything else is, it's not. It's the ones I don't have anymore. I'm like, oh, how much is this? Like Deus Ex, the big box PC version. I go look at that. I was looking at that the other day, and the cheapest I could find was like $100.
That's crazy.
I want this. It'd be fun to have on the shelf, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure I have better things to spend my money on.
Well, it's got to the point where I can't tell you the last time I sat down and looked at Marketplace or Craigslist and went, let me see about, if anybody's selling any games cheap. I haven't even looked. Don't even care. I'm not even messing with it because prices have gotten out of control. So it's like, even if you find it cheap, it's like, no, I don't feel like the adventure is over. I've reached a place and I go, nah.
There's lots of competition around here, so if you don't move quick, sometimes somebody will be like, hey, you're gonna go get this for $100. Well then, another guy's gonna offer it for 150.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get it.
Well,
Even
it's
though
like
you've already reached a deal.
Like the other day when you were at the show, and you're like, "Hey, there's these games here. I know you like to have it," and I kind of went,
stuff.
"Thanks for thinking of me, but
that guy was cheap. That guy was cheap. So
Yeah.
that guy actually lives in my town, and he's a like sports card guy. So he says he picks up like games at estate sales, but he doesn't really know very much about them. So I spotted the Game Gear stuff, but it was mostly common things that I'm pretty sure you had. But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask anyway.
Yeah, but if it'd been any other time, I probably would have. Yeah, I'll take all of them. It's like, and now it's kind of like, I mean, the last ones that you picked up for me are still sitting in the box with all those Atari games, and I haven't even cleaned them. I haven't done anything. They're just sitting in the other room in a box, just like, I'll get to them at some point. No.
Yeah. Yep. Same thing with like. Oh, you know what? Speaking of The Last of Us, what's actually really crazy is the Funko Pops. The last 3 of them, Joel and Ellie and a clicker. And Joel, I think, was the one at GameStop. I think Ellie was Amazon, and they had them for months, and they're like 20 months. Now, yeah, you're looking at like $300 for all.
Wow,
it's
that's crazy.
Well, actually, more. It might be $350 because I think Ellie's $120, Joel's $150.
Huh.
It's crazy.
Isn't that funny though? It's just a popularity of a TV show, and now everybody wants.
I wish I had hung on to. I had a poster and a shirt PAX. The poster was similar to like the art book Survival Edition, but the shirt was really nice. I think it just had like an outline of Joel and Ellie, but it was a medium. It was the wrong size for me, and so I got rid of it. But I was like, man, I kind of wish I would have hung on to that. Now, because of the popularity of the show, I looked that up the other day, and I was like, wow, I'm not paying $100 for a shirt.
Crazy. But who would have thought about it?
Nobody,
because there wasn't.
It was just one of those things where I think, it was, who knows? Who knows if they were going to come out the show and what was going to happen and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just hope that the show gets other video game properties adapted with people who actually know what they're doing and know how to tell stories. And they pick the right games for it. Because there's some games that it's just like, it wouldn't make sense to do as a movie or TV show, even if, hey, it's a big name game. There's plenty out there that would be really good. Some of them I would like to see, but I know that that they will be able to do justice for because they'd be so expensive. Like Mass Effect would be awesome, but that would be an expensive show to do.
Yeah, it would. I was thinking about that today. Red Dead Redemption would be a really cool one, done right. Westerns are always cool.
Yeah, that could be something with the right actors.
Well, especially like right now, like there's some Western shows that are out there that are like, hey, we'll do more of them. So if you want to combine that, be like, hey, this show's popular and Last of Us is good. Let's do Red Dead.
Yeah, and like you said, I was thinking Mass Effect, but it would be
science fiction is difficult because you can't just go and shoot that anywhere you want. It's like, hey, none of this exists, so it costs money to make.
And I wonder if they would do it kind of like they do the Mandalorian and stuff, where they shoot it in the, what do they call it, the
volume.
The volume. I wonder if they could do it cheaper that way, but I don't know.
Maybe, but it's not really necessarily cheaper. Depending, I don't know. They could do a bunch of like extended set things with it, maybe, but I don't know. It would be expensive regardless, just because of all the different like alien types, all the different locations, all the spaceships flying about. It would just be a very expensive show.
But Red Dead's
just think of all just like the main character companions from Mass Effect that are not human. Like the best ones are not human. So some of them you could do as prosthetics because they're basically just like a Star Trek style where they're just like, hey, we have doodads on your face and different color skin, so you could do it with prosthetic makeup and stuff. But like, how would you do the Krogans?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
They'd be difficult. Or some of the other aliens that are like, tentacly squid things or whatever that aren't necessarily the companions, but you still might see them somewhere if you go through like the Citadel, this huge space station. Like, it would be an expensive show.
What about Dragon Age? That would be.
Yeah,
that would be.
That would also be expensive, but more doable. I think, and it'd be like I could see it on Amazon because they just love their fantasy shows right now. They've got so many of them.
Yeah, that would be.
The only problem with that is they can't sell books from that. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
Amazon, if you can like tie in book sales to it, that's what's going to sell them on stuff a lot of the time.
Red Dead was the one though that stuck in the back of my brain the most. That was really the only one that I could think of that would be like, yeah, I would really sit down and really, if it was done right, that would really be cool.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. Like BioShock could be cool,
Yeah.
but it would also be one to be expensive. Like BioShock's been in development hell for so long as movies. Like a time or two, like different people have been saying, "Hey, we're gonna make it," and think there's one that they're currently even working on now. So we'll see if it actually gets made. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's always rumors about this video game or that video game. Like, hey, we're gonna make it, and then most of them don't come through, and then some of them do, and they're terrible. And then, hey, now we have a really awesome one to point to and be like, hey, see, if you like actually like put the effort in, you can do something that's good.
Yeah. I mean, with Last of Us, even Sonic. I mean, it's a stupid premise, but it was done well. I mean, it was actually done well. So, and this Mario movie coming out, I mean, looks pretty funny.
It looks like a really, really nice Mario game that we can't have because Nintendo is like too old with their hardware. But like, in maybe 20 years we can have a game that looks like that movie.
True. Very true.
Because it's so pretty looking from the trailers. It's just the Chris Pratt of it all is so weird to me. It throws me off so much whenever I've heard him in the trailer. It's just like, ugh, you're not even trying.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh, here we go. But, we'll probably go see it. So.
Yeah, it'll probably be a decent movie. It'll just like once you get past that of just like, oh, like Mario sounds like Chris Pratt, then it'll be like, okay, then you can take it as the actual just what they're doing for the story in the movie.
Right. All right. Well, it was a nice little sidetrack of off the topic, off the cuff stuff. We don't get to do that much anymore.
We never get sidetracked ever. We don't do tangents here.
We don't do tangents. No, not anymore. We don't do that kind of stuff. But all right. Well, I know it's a short one, but we're going to call that a show. It's been a long time since we've had a show that's under an hour and a half. You'd have to go back a very long way to find one that's short, but that's okay.
Yeah.
When you're a couple of hosts down, it happens, and it's okay. Dennis will be back at some point. I know he's real busy with other stuff. And Robert will be back at some point too. I know they're busy with home stuff and things like that. So everybody's got a lot of things going on. Me, I'm just doing beer coolers during the week. Living the life in the cooler. Can't even go outside and get warm. It's not warm enough. Except it was like 72 here the other day. So it was pretty warm.
Same here. Yeah, we had that one day that was like 70. Probably 72 or something. I didn't look at what the actual temperature made it to, and then like a couple days later, hey, it's not that anymore.
Yeah, now we're back down to 30.
It's always kind of a roller coaster, but this year has been an extra roller coaster.
It
just
really
like a couple
has.
days here, then down, then up, then down, then up, and it just doesn't stay one kind of temperature range for very long. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, as I usually say, I just wish it would pick something and keep it. That's all I want. I don't care if it's hot. I don't care if it's cold. I just want something that I know what I can wear.
The pressure changes just murder me sometimes, where it's just like my head balloons up and it's just like I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, give it a day and then like okay, I'm used to it, and then it changes again. You're like, come on.
Mm-hmm. It's no wonder I have a constant headache all the time. So, all right. Well, hopefully the plan is 2 weeks from today, which will be about the 25th. So fingers crossed. Everything goes well. Everybody stays healthy. And nobody gets busy doing stuff. We will be back. Like I always say, follow us at GL_podcast if you want to know when we go live on Twitch and YouTube and all that, and you want to come hang out with us. If not, you'll get it on Sunday when I post it on the RSS feed. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
See you later.